Is it better to be feared or loved? Fear creates this feeling of punishment, while love creates the no obligation to follow the rules. So if we were to connect this to our faith, should we fear Allah or should we love Him? Well, maybe it's both. And if it is both, then how do we balance these two feelings? That is what we're going to find out in today's Q&A video. One of the key principles in Islam is to both fear and love Allah. Let's start with love. Loving, in essence, is basically appreciating a being's existence. So the second that you forget about Allah, what it truly means is that you stopped loving Him. I know it may sound crazy, but that's the fundamentals of it. In the Quran, there's a ayah in the Surah Al-Hashr that states, "Be not one of those who forgot Allah. He made them forget about themselves. Those are the ones who are truly rebellious." Now, it's important that we keep in mind that we have to remember Allah at all times, at each step of the way. Because it's only a matter of actions and a matter of even minutes that you can forget about Allah, commit a sin, do something wrong, and completely forget your duties as a human, as a servant. And you'll be corrupted by the ideas of this dunya. Now, shouldn't loving Allah be enough to get into paradise? No, I don't think it's enough. Because we're humans, we make mistakes. Think of it this way. Let's say that I love my math class more than anything else in the world. I don't. What do you think is truly the motivation behind me getting good grades? Could be the love, of course, but in reality, it's my fear of getting a bad grade, my fear of failing the test, my fear of not getting a degree. Well, you have to think of it the same way with Allah. You may love Allah the most, and you should. But what's truly motivating you to pray, to be on His path, is your fear of Him losing His love towards you and your fear of hell. That is where the true motivation lies. Let me give you this scenario. Let's say you come back home from work, you're really tired, you may even be upset, and you just want to lay down, right? But there's 10 minutes left until prayer time's over. You're getting thoughts in your head, I'll do it another time, I'll get better, I won't pray just for today. Okay, what are going to be the key factors in changing your decision at that moment? The two perfectly coexisting things: love and fear. On one side, you have that love and respect for Allah and that feeling that you don't want to disappoint Him. And on the other hand, you have the fear of Allah's punishment, the fear of hell, right? These two perfect harmonies come together and they will be the only things to motivate you to go on the right path and pray at that moment. Now, we're mentioning punishment, but we have to take into account what punishment truly is, because a lot of people see it as a negative. I've said it especially on this channel. There's a lot of non-believers out there that criticize Islam and other religions, saying, oh, there's punishment, it's evil. But is punishment truly evil? Think about it this way. Your mother yells at you, punishes you, right? Grounds you for a week, whatever it may be. You think that she's gaining something from punishing you? You think that she levels up every time she does it to you, every time she yells at you? No. She's doing it so you can learn and grow. And the same exact thing applies with Allah. He doesn't punish you because He's going to gain something from it. He doesn't. We already know this. But it's actually just solely for you to grow and for you to become a better person. In our last video, we discussed how important knowledge is for our free will. Well, it's not only just for free will. Our knowledge can be utilized so perfectly in order to understand how we should feel about Allah. with that love and fear factor. So take it that you're walking in a garden full of flowers, all of them are different species, and you have that knowledge that each single one of them is a different species that act in very separate ways. Well, of course you're going to appreciate, you're going to be paralyzed by the beauty of nature. And then, the second you realize that Allah created each and every single one of those flowers, your love for Allah is going to be so incredibly magnified. Well, it works the other way around too. The more knowledge you have of His unimaginable strength, how His power is, there's no extent to it, then the fear factor is going to be completely magnified. Now, this is not to over-exaggerate anything. Rather, this is to understand our feelings in a deeper way. It's important that we have knowledge to correctly use our free will, right? As we discussed in the last video. However, we have to use that same knowledge for our feeling towards Allah. And we have to make sure we're always gaining more knowledge, always researching in order to completely understand our feelings. We can't just say, oh, we have to love and fear Allah. There's a balance. It's not like that. You have to apply it. You have to realize it throughout the steps in your life of how many times you feared Allah, how many times you loved Him. It's important to know what we mean when we say fear in religion. Now, there's an Islamic scholar whose name is Abu Qasim, and he says that there are two types of fears, two categories. First one being terror, second one being dread. Terror is when you seek refuge in flight. So like the flight and fight response. You run away from that terror. Now, dread is when you seek refuge with your Lord, God. And the fear that we're talking about right now is not terror. Terror is like death or something horrific happening. Dread is what we do with Allah. We're not really afraid of His punishment. We're rather more afraid than disappointing Him. That dreading feeling is what truly is in Islam. That's what we mean by fear. A lot of people take it in an extreme way. But like I said before, you have to gain knowledge to understand these things. It's important that you know this type of fear that we're talking about is dreading fear. Moral of the story is, we have to balance these two feelings. We have to both love Allah and we both have to fear Him. We have to understand what it means by fearing Allah. We have to understand what it means by loving Allah. Only way that we can find that treasure is through knowledge. Only through knowledge. You have to research. You have to read the Quran. You have to read anything that you can to truly understand and grasp the idea about love and fear with your Lord. To end this video, let me recite you an ayah from Surah As-Sajdah. They call on their Lord with fear and hope. When you feel directionless, when you feel that you have no hope left, just remember to seek refuge in Allah and fear that you may stray from His path.